Kiryu Setsuna claims in his notebook that they lied to me. The Tiger Vessel is Shen Wulong. It was all a lie. So what does this mean for the longest lasting mystery in Kengan? Let's go over everything. This requires us to go back to what Faye revealed before his death. The first claims that the Tiger Vessel refers to Tokita Nikko's hair. Nikko will pass all of his techniques and knowledge to whoever he recognizes as the Tiger Vessel. This leads into Koga asking if Ryuki is in the running for being the Tiger Vessel. Faye responds by saying he doesn't use the Nikko style. He's not qualified to be the Tiger Vessel. Dropping the first confirmation that Oma and Ryuki are clones of another, with them being established as having the exact same genes. Oma wants to know who he's a copy of, with Faye beginning to explain that it must be someone of pretty high status, before getting a close look at Oma's face, resulting in him to begin freaking out. No, this has to be a joke. Could the Tiger Vessel really be? This can't be real, but it all makes so much sense. The real Tiger Vessel is, it was you all along. With all of this meaning one thing, Faye sees what Oma looks like up close for the first time, and asserts he was always the Tiger Vessel. Oma, as we know, looks very similar to the previous version of Shen from the past. However, the current Shen Wulong claims right before killing Mukaku that Oma is not a clone of him. However, Ryuki is. Oma and Ryuki have the same genes and look similar to one another, and Kiryu thinks Wulong is the Tiger Vessel. We also have Luhan in the mix, who was assumed to be a clone of current Wulong, but that was before we had this scene. The connector one-shots Luhan due to him showing hostility towards Joji, a scene that was in the draft pages of chapter 236, but didn't make it in the full release for some reason. However, this line did, a little strange, and I guess a big mistake. But after Shen attacked him, Yan says, "Aren't you going a bit overboard? I mean, he's your own clone," with Shen's response being very interesting. You know as well as I do, that's not me. Which leaves a few more possibilities. It's either Luhan is a clone of the previous connector, or perhaps he's just so weak Shen doesn't consider him a clone of himself. If we take Wulong's statements to heart, Oma and Luhan are not clones of him, and Ryuki is the only clone that we know that's still alive, but they have the same genetics, or genes, everything is pretty much exactly the same. Therefore, it could be the case that Luhan is a clone of the previous Shen, like what current Shen is, and Oma is a clone of Luhan, while Ryuki is a clone of current Wulong, or Oma is also a clone of the previous version. There's a few possibilities. Naturally, it's a little confusing, something that has continued to be confusing throughout all of Kengan since the first reveal back in Kengan Ashura about the Tiger Vessel, but that's what we have so far. However, Kiryu thinking Wulong is the Tiger Vessel doesn't really change much, as the only ones who know the truth about Oma not being a clone of the current Wulong is the connector himself and Yan most likely. Therefore, I still think Nikko's goal is to surpass Shen Wulong with this Tiger Vessel, which I believe is still Oma, but we'll have to wait and see. When it comes to other stuff we got in the most recent chapter, Kengan Omega 246, we had, of course, Justice Boy Greatness. I'm now a follower of Justice. However, take this line, perhaps it's more foreshadowing for Justice Boy to meet his demise in the future of the story. We'll have to wait and see. However, my man is goated. He saved Kiryu's life and has now disappeared, going back on his grind. You love to see it. Now when it comes to Kiryu and his role in the future of the story, it looks like he's not going to be making an appearance for a while and may not even have a possibility of recovering at all, meaning when the Tiger Nikko entered his advance, man definitely went in, but still didn't finish him. Kinda crazy stuff. Can't believe Ikoy was able to save his own and Kiryu's life in that situation. I don't think really any other character would have clutched up like that. Still insanely impressive. However, Kiryu now has the information about Nikko, So when he does awaken, that information will be very important, especially for someone like Oma. So I can't wait for that interaction in the future of the story. And we also get, of course, highlights of Roki's improvements mentally. Man is fully recovering and is now chilling alongside Oma more than Koga, who I have no idea where he is. The protagonist of Kengan Mega hasn't made an appearance for quite some time now. However, one of the most interesting things is the final panel with Jan raging at Gilbert, Nico, and the fraud victim of Okoya, who is alive but seems to be injured on his face here, meaning my man got clapped. You love to see it. I actually wonder what their reactions are going to be to Jan actually raging at them. It seems like Gilbert already isn't having it at all, and the Tiger Nico, I believe he has other motives, but I can't wait to actually see their reactions to this. It may actually result in some exchanges which may force the connector to step in, who by the way is just chilling watching TV. You love to see it. But Jan, as we know, hasn't really done anything thus far in the series. However, the things we have seen him do demonstrate that he's actually quite the monster. For example, in the match against Kanagito before it was cut short, he was busy pretty much the whole time thinking about who betrayed them, rather than really focusing on fighting Kano, which is pretty crazy. And he's pretty much the main student of the connector, which naturally will result in a lot of power, with him also having a light version of the Superman syndrome, which makes his raw power off the charts as well. Naturally, I think Tiger, Gilbert, and Jan are on the same level, with my personal ranking going Gilbert, Nico, and then Jan. However, it's very possible that Jan could be the strongest of them. Can't wait to see where this goes. Alongside us also getting a flashback for how Okoya was able to take out this fraud, and what Gilbert or the Tiger Nico did to deal with the grenade. Maybe Gilbert just tanked it or something. That would be kinda crazy. Another thing to consider is what Gilbert and Nico's role in the story will actually be moving forward, as Jan and Wulong kinda want to be part of the Kengan Association and move past the typical terrorist acts. Even though I believe both of them are planning something else more grand, it seems like they're taking a step back from the more so evil activities, while the likes of Gilbert is pretty much a creature of destruction, and Nico has his own goals that I've talked about pretty much throughout this whole video in regards to the Tiger Vessel, him wanting to gain absolute power and I guess be the strongest. That's my theory for him based on everything we got in Kengan Ashura and all the new stuff in Kengan Omega. I have seen a lot of people pretty much calling him a fraud due to, of course, his performance against Kiryu, but just consider this, Kiryu was a lot stronger than a lot of us expected, and Nico wasn't really taking him that serious until, of course, he released his removal or advance, whatever it was, and then, as we see, pretty much dominated, but still took some significant damage. And even here, compare Nico's damage to Kiryu's currently. And that's really everything for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, shout out to the Mad Lads, and that's it guys, peace.